featuring Will Gavin and Master Tess Fassian.
And a squad of big-name contributors.
The S Word
from talkSPORT.
Good morning, it's 8 a.m. Eastern and welcome to the S Word, brought to you by talkSPORT and the talkSPORT S Word YouTube channel with me, Ollie Klink. I'm alongside the great Max Scott. We're in for Will Gavin, whose voice needs a deserved rest, and Master Tess Fatsian, who was last seen eating a bucket of fried chicken in Koreatown, LA. Max, how you doing?
I'm doing well, mate. I'm doing well. I think I'm doing a lot better than you. We'll get into that in a little moment. Talk about your birthday celebrations yesterday. But we got a massive show for you because, let's be honest, Scotland made history. Their first World Cup victory in 36 years against Haiti. We're not going to rub the salt in the wounds because we are going to speak to Haiti football journalists about just what this means for their nation to be participating in just their second World Cup, Ollie.
Yeah, brilliant for Scotland. We'll also look back at a disappointing Brazil, who managed to draw with a very impressive Morocco. Brazilian football expert Jon Cotterill is going to join us to look back on that game and what they need to do with Neymar and Casemiro, who looked out on his feet there. Did he have his Gary Neville moment? We'll be asking that question to John a bit later on.
As well, for me, the upset of the tournament, Australia, the Socceroos, beat Turkey 2-0. Defensively incredible. Two young players making a massive impact in this World Cup. We'll be reflecting on that as well. Absolute belter of a result.
And we're going to talk about our favourite moments of the World Cup so far, what we've loved about it as a tournament as it's got underway, and we'll look ahead to today's games. There's some absolute belters on the way, including the Netherlands against Japan, and talkSPORT's Cowboy correspondent Alex Crook is going to be live in Houston for us.
I've got a massive bone to pick with Crookie, by the way. We'll save that for later, but he has, I think, betrayed a nation in appearing on the breakfast show earlier this morning.
Massive
big bone to put. Massive bone to pick with Crookie. Massive bone.
Massive bone to pick. Looking forward to that. All of that and so much more. You're watching the S Word, sponsored by Kalshi. Max, I woke up this morning probably with a head as sore as most Scottish football fans.
Yeah, fair play, mate.
I had my 30th birthday last night, and it was very, very good fun. I managed to watch a fair amount of the football. Some of the memory was a bit hazy. I had to watch the highlights this morning.
Don't trust Ollie's analysis of last night's games.
Yeah. Just analysing Scotland, being like, didn't Archie Gemmell play well? Yeah, it was absolutely brilliant.
But seeing you roll into the office this morning, about 45 minutes late, might I add, made me feel less apologetic about not turning up. I saw the pictures coming through on the group chat. You were having an absolute blast, getting redder and redder as the day went on, partly because of the sun, partly because of the beverages. But fair play on turning up, mate. Me and producer Ollie, producer Zach, we thought this could be a one-man show.
Mate, you are going to have to be Scott McTominay today. You are going to have to carry me through this show. But what a result it was for Scotland. They ended that 36-year wait for a World Cup win last night.
Be a nation again. Let the drama unfold. Scotland's 9th World Cup campaign about to get off and underway. Back to McTominay, off the post. Goalkeeper rooted to the spot.
The source of it is Ben Gannon-Doak. Let's get the ball. Let's keep getting the ball down his throat.
Gannon-Doak, couple of step-overs. Low ball in Adams, what a save. Out to McGinn. Deflected in. It's Super John McGinn. Scotland's first goal at a World Cup for 28 years.
That was brilliant. They've earned that goal.
Scotland looking at a first major tournament victory since Euro 96. There is a long way to go. Of course, whips in a dangerous cross. Piero! Header only just wide. What a chance!
Oh, guys, I feel physically sick.
The final whistle is blown! After 28 years, Scotland have returned to the World Cup with a win.
Oh, magnificent for the Scots there. They got the job done, Max. Just before we get into the football and the game and the selections and what Steve Clarke got right in that game, it wasn't a vintage performance, let's be honest, but they got the 3 points and that much-needed victory, which, let's be honest, probably ends that group stage curse. They've got 2 more difficult games to come.
88%, by the way, on a supercomputer from The Athletic. That's what they say. And so I think you've got to trust that. 88%, yeah, great odds for Scotland, unbelievable.
Yeah, which is fantastic. I want to talk about their fans.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. The Flower of Scotland before the game, which you heard a bit of there. Let's hear a little bit more of that, because it was spine-tingling. It's amazing. It always makes you think of Alan Brazil, that incredible clip where he's singing it before. Yeah, Chib. But
I've not got a problem as well, by the way, as an Englishman, enjoying Scotland do incredibly well. I don't mind that. I know they hate us. I know they want nothing but for nothing more than for us to get knocked out of the group stage. I love it.
Do you want them to do well?
Yeah, I think I do.
Really?
We work with some great Scots people, whether it's Shaban, Ali McCoist, Alan Brazil. Yeah, I want them to do well. I've got a Scottish family,
Jim White, of course.
Of course. That was actually quite good for me.
That was good, yeah.
Mate, you're going to be replaced, mate. But no, look, I love it. And particularly, you're right to mention the fans. Look, Scottish fans, from what I've seen so far, not all the group games have happened, they're the best travelling fans at this World Cup.
Yeah.
And because you see what it means, and for me, football isn't about the X's and O's, it's not about possession stats, it's not about spreadsheets, it's about what it means. And the story of Scotland, and they're our neighbours, and that's how I see it, and the story of Scotland, now dreadful they've been, not winning a World Cup game for 36 years, not being in a World Cup for 28. It's absolutely incredible stuff. So I'm here for it.
Yeah, and
if we play them, then yeah, all that's out the window.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, their fans, I completely agree with you. Just with how they've been and all the issues they've had too. Let's be honest. There's been plenty of Scotland fans, loads of them called up talkSPORT to talk about the Esther issues, and I felt really sorry for them given how long it's been, and some of them will have missed that moment, which is a real shame. But they've still turned out in their numbers. The noise that they bring is absolutely fantastic, and it will be a massive help to that Scotland side. And it was funny, we were talking to Andy Barger, Scottish football commentator, previewing this game on the S Word the other day, and we were talking about the fact that Steve Clarke's done so well to get them to 2 tournaments, but when they've got there, they've just crumbled a bit, and
they were close to doing that last night,
and it's true, and they felt the pressure so much, and there were elements of that last night. I tell you what, it was when they were 1-0 up, and right at the end, Haiti had that chance. I think it was Piero.
That header.
Oh, yeah. The heart in the mouth of the Scotland fans.
But you couldn't fit a Rizzler paper between that going in or out. But so we have to say it wasn't a vintage performance. It wasn't the performance that we've seen from Scotland in the build-up games where they've been banging goals in. But that doesn't matter, because I think they've got the monkey off their back in a game where they were favourites. Haiti, I think people slept on them a little bit. They're a physical side. You got some top players playing in European football. You got Wilson Isidore, for example, up top, who's had a great season, hasn't he, for Sunderland, Ollie?
Yeah.
He's had a great season for Sunderland.
I've never heard of him, mate. Yeah.
Newcastle fan there. But look, so that being said, they were favourites going into the game, and the fact that they've got that monkey off their back and they can go into the next 2 games with, like you say, 88% confidence that they're going to go through. And I just look at the group, mate. Morocco are the best team in that group. Brazil ain't got much to shout about. And I think if Scotland can sort of play defensively really solidly, they can easily get a point out of that game.
I completely agree. They might even be watching that Brazil performance last night. I thought Morocco were outstanding, by the way.
They'll be fuming in that first 25 minutes.
They didn't go two or three.
Absolutely.
Definitely. But is there a world? I mean, are we getting ahead of ourselves? Scotland didn't even play that well. But do you know what I keep thinking, Max, is under Steve Clarke, they have had big nights against some big teams. They've beaten Spain. Yeah. It isn't out of the realms of possibility for them to pull off a shock. And I think you're right, because they've got that win. I think the way that the group went for Scotland is in terms of the fixtures was perfect.
Yes.
They had that cup final first. They had to go out there and win. They've managed to do that. And I think you're right, because it just takes the pressure off now. They can go out knowing that they're probably getting through. That's what they probably wanted to achieve when they were at the World Cup. And now they can go and show people what they can do. And I think when you've got some dangerous players, particularly Scott McTominay.
Well, this is what I was going to say, mate. They've got some top players, like Scott McTominay is like a saint in Napoli, playing top level European football. They've got a European champion or Europa League winner in John McGinn, who single-handedly, much to my dismay, in that second leg at Villa Park in the Europa League semi-final, turned that game around and deservedly won the tournament. Lawrence Shankland's just used to banging in goals. He's got his big move to Rangers. Rangers. Ben Gannon-Doak, by the way, there needs to be something said about this boy, because yes, he was on everybody's radar because he was at Liverpool. He's gone to Bournemouth, a football club that is obviously going to improve him. That's going to be a great stepping stone. But he played quite few minutes last season. He was their best player on the pitch. He was their biggest outlet. We heard in the package there Mark McGee say, "Yeah, get the ball down Gannon-Doak's throat," which is quite a visceral image. But absolutely bang on. I thought, great for it. They've just got top players. Andy Robertson, a proper European champion and a captain. They can go toe to toe. And I was on the breakfast show this morning, and we were getting texts in from a couple of Scotland fans. I was quite surprised by the tone of it, saying, they're actually frustrated that they didn't sort of put their foot on the neck a little bit harder against Haiti. And I kind of understand where they're coming from. I think it's a bit sour grapes, but I think we should expect a better performance from the Scotland team. Yeah, potentially. But I think, I heard Angus Gunn interviewed by our very own Shabana Hearn after the game, and he just said, look, to be honest, it wasn't the best performance, but we don't care. No. We have managed to get that win. The John McGinn thing's really interesting too, because it sounds bizarre, but there was some debate over whether he would start, which... I was struggling to get my head around, just to do with the setup of the team, because they like to play a 4-4-2, and it was just where you put John McGinn in that lineup. And actually, Steve Clarke called it his most difficult decision he's ever made as a manager, and he made the right call, because McGinn comes in and scores the goal. So, look, I'm really looking forward to now seeing what they can do against Morocco and Brazil and the rest of the group, and potentially how far they could go. I even heard, I think Simon Jordan was saying the other day, thinks they could even make it to the round of 16. Yeah, I think they'll get there, but I don't think they can get any further. But you just never know. You remember how Wales got to a semi-final of the Euros. It'd be unbelievable to see Scotland, as long as they didn't do better than England. It'd be unbelievable to see. Yeah, it wasn't the only sport going on yesterday, and we're going to go through all of the other games too and have a look back on that. We'll also be joined by a Haitian football journalist a bit later to talk about an amazing story, Haiti, just being at this World Cup. And you mentioned some of the players there too, but yeah, with everything going on in that country too, very special occasion for them, even though they didn't manage to get the result. And fans, by the way, who were also brilliant when it's surrounded by the Tartan Army, who rightly took over. Best fans in the World Cup at the minute. But yeah, we need to speak about the fans when he comes on, because they were incredible. Yeah, fantastic. There was some other sport going on. Yes. In the US, the Knicks won their first title for 53 years. They beat the San Antonio Spurs. And then there were some so-called celebrations afterwards, Max. Now, obviously, people got very excited about this, but then it went way too far. I completely agree, mate. Look, I understand as a Forest fan, right, what a long period, a generation and more in the doldrums feels like. And then I know what success feels like on the back of that. A massive relief, a generational release of pent-up sadness, despair, anxiety about your team that means so much to you. So I can understand the outpouring of emotion from New York Knicks fans. I stayed up, watched the final quarter. I'm a big basketball fan. I've been following it for years and years since I was a teenager. But get a grip. Like, I just think there's a line between fill the streets, stop the traffic, but don't be jumping on people's cars. Don't be ripping up sort of infrastructure in the street. Don't be shooting people. Don't be getting into fights. There's a line here. And I kind of think that particularly in America, there's this celebration of yobbish behaviour. There's this sort of tacit sort of encouragement of hooliganism. And one thing that really grinds my gears is that England fans are tarnished with this brush as being travelling fans that hooligans. It's not the case anymore. Yes, there's bad eggs everywhere. You see that in all big crowds. But the Americans are essentially celebrating New York Knicks fans destroying the city. And I just kind of think, do me a favour. Yeah, I tell you what, if you compare it to some of the scenes that we've had over here, especially when Arsenal won the league, and it was like that. It was that pent-up emotion. It was 22 years. But I actually thought their celebrations were fantastic. And you could be frustrated by them winning the league, and you could be, a bit annoyed that Arsenal had finally managed to get over the line. But actually seeing those celebrations
showed you why football's so special and so important. And I think the way they did it in their however many parades they had in the end was brilliant. And that's how you should do it.
They got the tone right, Arsenal
exactly
fans.
Right.
Whereas New York fans, it's just tacky. It's lowbrow, destroying cars, destroying buildings, having fights. I just think, who do you think you are?
You're meant to be celebrating.
Yeah,
that.
You're celebrating something. Enjoy it. And you compare it, by the way, to the way Scotland fans have been with police in America. They're getting the bagpipes out. They're having pictures. They're having fun. Whereas then in the evening in Times Square, you've got sort of confrontations between the police and Knicks fans that think they've got this divine right to rip up and tear up the city. Yeah. It's an absolute disgrace. And all you Knicks fans that are revelling in sort of buffoonery and hooliganism, get a grip and have a look at yourself in the mirror.
Well, I'll tell you what, you say Knicks fans there, and I know you'll agree with me on this. You can't call those people fans.
True.
You can't call them supporters.
And this isn't a comment about, the vast majority of Knicks fans, I'm sure, that are out there enjoying it, that are sort of stood on lampposts, all that stuff, that's fine. But there is a line, and so many of them have crossed it. And just think maybe fans like that don't really understand what sport is. They see it more as an opportunity for them to get sort of seen online or whatever it is, clicks on social media.
Yeah, and just cause chaos for absolutely no reason.
Take a leaf out of the Scotland fans' book, please.
Yes, please. And the Brazil fans as well, playing keepy uppies with the coppers and everything like that.
Tough.
It's just brilliant to see. Even, you know what, the fan base I always think of, to be fair, is back in Euro 2016, the Irish. They were absolutely brilliant. All of that kind of stuff. You'd see them kind of helping people get their cars started, all kinds of things like that. And that's how you should behave as a supporter out there. And at least we're seeing that with the football fans, I think, for the majority of this World Cup.
I think we saw it as well. There was an amazing clip of Mexico and South Korea fans having a rave to Gangnam Style. That's what football can be, right? Football can be this unifying force. And yes, there are ugly parts to it. I'm not denying that whatsoever, right? But I just think, I've said it. Get over yourselves. Who do you think you are? I just,
Well, actually, as well, we did see similar scenes in Paris too after PSG won the Champions League. So
people died.
It can happen, which is awful. Yeah. Which is absolutely awful. So look, in terms of what happened in the actual basketball, congratulations to
Jalen Brunson, by the way. I got this from a Knicks fan an English Knicks fan who's been following him for years, and we were raving in the early hours of the morning as I was preparing for the show. I was like, I cannot miss the end of this game, right? And Jalen Brunson scored 45 points. He's got the MVP in the playoffs. And this, for me, is a rarity in sport. Not just in football, not in basketball. Jalen Brunson took $113 million off the top of his contract so that the Knicks could add Bridges and Karl Anthony Towns, who are both absolutely instrumental in this, without going into a second apron. And this is his biggest playoff rise in his career. Jalen Brunson has done... he is a hero. He should be the equivalent of get knighted in America, because you wouldn't see that from most top elite sportsmen. No. Him saying, you know what, I'll take off my the bread on my table and give it to somebody else so we can improve as a team. And he's gone and got his just desserts. And I think he's an absolute legend. He's only 6'2", which I know for you, Ollie, is massive. But in basketball, that's small fry.
Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah, never really was a basketballer, Max. You'd be interested to know. If you're wondering, I'm 5'11", 6 foot on the popular dating app. But keep it a secret. You were watching the S Word here, sponsored by Kalshi. Next up, we're going to get stuck into Brazil. Bit of a disappointing draw for them against Morocco. We'll chat to Jon Cotterill next.
Around here, we only use the F word.
talkSPORT presents
the S word.
From kickoff to the full-time whistle.
Don't say the S word. Say the F word. Football.
The S word.
From talkSPORT.
Hello, this is the S Word on the talkSPORT YouTube channel. I'm Ollie Clink alongside the brilliant Max Scott. We've just been praising those... that's right. We're praising those Scotland fans. The Brazil fans have been absolutely fantastic. They've been better than their team, who got off to a start with a draw against Morocco, saved by a piece of brilliance from Vinicius Jr. Joining us now to speak more about that is Jon Cotterill, Brazilian football expert and author. John, how are you doing?
I'm okay, thank you.
Good. What did you make of last night then? A bit of a disappointing result from Brazil. And actually, I thought Morocco were outstanding, but it certainly was nowhere near a vintage Brazil performance.
Yeah, I think we've got to put it into context, haven't we, really? Because the world rankings, the FIFA World Rankings, Brazil and Morocco are level pegging. So it wasn't a big surprise that the way the game turned out, Morocco are a decent team. And you've got to say as well, in the last 2 decades, maybe even longer than that, Brazil have struggled against any decent opposition they've faced. And that was the case last night.
Look, I watched this game and kind of thought, you always want to see the best from Brazil. When I think back to falling in love with watching football on the television, domestically it's Manchester United and Arsenal, Wenger, Sir Alex Ferguson, that era of football, and then it's Brazil internationally, and I think of Captain Cafu and then the rest of the gang that sort of lit up world tournaments whether they won them or not. This was a far cry from that, and I think that's indicative in the performance of Casemiro and Roger Ibanez. Both got yellow carded, both hoiked at half-time. Do you think that's a sort of a pivotal moment for Ancelotti to realise that maybe he needs a little bit more, particularly in the centre of the park, a bit more speed and dynamism?
Yeah, my impression watching that game, especially with the changes at half-time, I think you can understand it because they both were carded, as you said, that Ancelotti's got into this not knowing what his starting lineup is, and that is an issue. Right back was an issue. Wesley got injured in the game against Panama on the friendly. They brought in the defensive midfielder, Edison, who's supposed to be on his way to Man United. I don't think they've signed him yet. So when that happened, people would say, well, what's going on here? You know, he's got a right back injured. He's bringing in a defensive midfielder. Are we going to have more midfielders across the centre of the park? So obviously Ancelotti is aware there's a problem there. Finding somebody to deliver the ball was the problem. But again, Morocco were very, very good. This is the problem with Brazil. Brazil in the past and in the future, it's always a problem with Brazil. It's never giving credit to the opposition. And for the first 20 minutes or so, Morocco were absolutely fabulous.
It should be a bit of a concern, though, shouldn't it? Because I think when you look at that Brazil squad...
That's how you go about them, really. And it was a piece of brilliance by Vini Jr. with the equaliser. But Brazil, I think that was Brazil's first ever own goal. The goal which Vini Jr. put away. Bit of magic, absolutely brilliant. You got them out of trouble. The press is saying here, and the Brazilian footballers are saying, they were anxious. You know, of course they're anxious. It's the first game. Morocco were anxious when they set about them early doors, but that's the theme coming out. Yeah, we're all anxious, and that affected us.
Yeah, it feels like that pressure is kind of getting to them. But I think when you look at that Brazil squad, like we've said, it's not the same as Baigonia, as you mentioned there, that they're similarly ranked to Morocco. So you feel that their trump card at this World Cup is going to be Ancelotti. So should it be a bit of a concern that, like you say, it doesn't feel like he knew what his starting 11 was, and he's hooking players at half time? You know, because I think if they are going to go far and go all the way, they're going to need the absolute best, the Don Carlo Ancelotti.
Yeah, I just lost the audio there a fraction. Let me see.
I was just talking about Ancelotti and his role and the fact that he's obviously getting things wrong in that first game, and he's going to probably be the trump card for Brazil if they're going to go all the way. So should it be a bit of a concern that, like you've pointed out, he doesn't really know what that starting 11 should be at the moment?
Yeah, it is a concern. And also, who you're going to bring in really to make things better. The changes which were made at half-time and during the second half really did improve Brazil's performance. But Morocco, I think, slightly went off the pedal a bit as well. 29 degrees. Most of it was played in shade. The pitch was covered in shade, so the temperature wasn't an issue. But the personnel wasn't there. Didn't work with Ibanez, who is a centre-back, and playing one of the many players which Brazil have got in the squad who were based in Brazil. And for me, that's a little bit of a warning sign. there's some quality players there, but day in, day out, game in, game out, you don't get the same elite quality which you would get playing in Europe, for example. So that's an issue, having so many players, and so many of them are Flamengo players as well.
John, it looked to me like Igor Thiago was pretty isolated, and it seemed... Lovely mug, by the way, John. Didn't know you were a Forest fan. Skit on.
Look at this as well.
Oh, mate, I had no idea. I like you even more anyway.
It's been great to have you on, John. Cheers.
We'll get you on. We'll have to get you on. We'll chat about Forest. But look, John, Igor Thiago, he looked isolated. And for me, my reading of the situation in terms of some of the perception in Brazil of Igor Thiago is quite stuffy. It's that Igor Thiago doesn't play for a top European side. He plays for Brentford, and therefore we don't like him. And I felt, and you've alluded to it, that there was no delivery. There was very few options for Thiago. He had a half-decent chance in the first half, but it wasn't cast iron. And I kind of worry that he might become a little bit of a scapegoat. Ancelotti might look to him to sort of involve Hendrick, who I don't really think should play as an out-and-out striker instead of him. What do you make of how the Igor Thiago situation is going to sort of play out?
Well, I like having a big, chunky guy who's fairly mobile and quality players up front. When they play Panama...
You see me play five side, John.
when they play Panama, of course it's Panama, with respect to Panama, he played well and he got a lot of praise, Igor Thiago. Likewise, Hyan came on as well, and those two played well, and Enrique as well getting praise. So, yeah, I don't think... There is an attitude, of course, that he's not playing for a massive side, but saying that, he was praised in that performance against Panama, and that is why he was in the starting lineup. It just didn't work. He had a glance ahead at early doors, but then faded, never really got a chance on goal. But he has the quality there, and if they can use him correctly, again, I think you've got to give praise to Morocco, because Morocco just closed Brazil down in every portion of the pitch.
Talk to me about the Neymar situation. Obviously, he was there. There was a number of times where the camera panned to him, of course, and watching the game and looking very passionate on that touchline. What do you see going forward with him, like in terms of how it's going to play out and how much Ancelotti might use him?
Yeah, I think it was going to be normal that the cameras focused on Neymar, of course. It's been a massive distraction. It's been a no-win situation for Ancelotti, I think, because if he picked him, he was going to get it in the neck. If he didn't pick him, perhaps it would have been worse. The guy's not fit. He's not been fit all year. Not all year. He's not been fit for 2 or 3 years. The last time we played for Brazil was in October 2023. So we're getting on for 3 years. He's not fit yet. They're talking about maybe he's going to be training with the squad this week. Maybe in time for the Haiti game on Friday night. So, but, the pace of that match... Early doors especially, Neymar's got no chance.
I agree, John. Neymar...
We saw Kaká in the stands, and I saw Kaká and Neymar together at the Kings League tournament just a few months ago. Kaká looked a lot fitter than Neymar did, and there's 10 years difference between the two players. But at that pace, he's got no chance whatsoever. Look, no chance on the ball.
Neymar's past it. We know that. People in Brazil might not want to acknowledge that. We know that, and I'm pretty sure Carlo Ancelotti knows that. But unfortunately, probably has been put into a situation where it's almost a political decision, and he's done it to make his life a little bit easier. Casemiro, whilst he finished his career at Manchester United looking great, there's an argument that performance demonstrates that maybe he's past it. What's the response been like in Brazil about his performance having been hoiked off at half-time?
Again, it swings and roundabouts. I think everybody in that Brazil side, no one got any praise apart from Vinicius Jr. I think the rest of them, when Danilo came on, he was okay. But again, he's aging as well at right-back position. But Casemiro looked out of it. It might have been the positioning, the way Brazil was set up, because it clearly didn't work. And Ancelotti, to his credit, did make those changes, which improved the Brazil side. But yeah, he looked out. But all of the players looked out of sorts, didn't they, really? Yeah, but again, what I keep reading now, we're anxious. We're all anxious. Even the experienced players, Paquetá was saying that. Alisson, the Liverpool goalkeeper, was saying that as well. For me, it was just an excuse for a poor performance. But again, against a decent side. And Brazil have not performed well against a decent side. I can't remember the last time they performed against a big name side in form and beat them. You've got to go back to the 90s. Not including Germany in the 2002 World Cup, because for my money, they weren't that good.
John, by the way, talk to us about your new book all about Brazilian football. Where can people find it and what's it all about?
Oh, you're talking about this one here?
Oh, there he is.
I've got everything.
I preferred the mug, John. I'm sure it's a great book, but I preferred the mug.
Where is it? I've got the forest mug. I've got the hat because it's a bit cold here in Brazil at the moment. But I'll just read you what Jamie Jackson, one of the sports writers from The Guardian, says on the cover. It says, I won't do the accent. It said, forget samba football. This thrilling ride is a chapter-by-chapter shootout between murderers, match fixers, gunslingers and chancers that reads like pulp noir, spun wild by caipirinha-fueled nights.
Brilliant.
So if that gives you an idea, you know all about the beautiful game. Well, there's none of it in here, I'm afraid. It's all the other side. But there's some good characters, some very, very good characters, as well as psycho killers.
Sounds a bit like your birthday last night,
then. John, brilliant.
Psycho killers.
Brilliant book, horrible mug. Thank you very much for joining us, Jon Cotterill, there, Brazilian football expert and author. Yeah, do find that book because that sounds absolutely fantastic, and I can confirm that is exactly how it went last night on my birthday. It's interesting that Neymar point that John made there about the fact that as much as he's that talisman. You know, you think about 2014 when he was trying to drag Brazil all the way to that World Cup. Obviously, ended in absolute disgrace for them. That 7-1 loss to Germany because he got injured as well, and that was quite an iconic, I think, World Cup moment. But Neymar. And the
we might as well bring back Gaza. If you're bringing back Neymar, we might as well bring back Gaza. We might as well bring back Gary Lineker. Might as well bring back David Beckham. I mean, Beck's probably, he looks in great shape, doesn't he?
He's just one of these. This is the World Cup of last dances, isn't it?
Yeah, it
is 100%. And I think he's just another one to add to the list. And I think John made a really good point there that even if he does feature, is he really going to be able to keep up with the kind of pace that you saw in that first game?
Well, look, maybe against Haiti. Maybe even against Scotland. But, I mean, we've just said that we think Scotland can get a point from that game, and I stand by that. So I find it... I'm a little bit disappointed in Ancelotti, actually. Ancelotti transcends football. Ancelotti is one of the greatest to do it. You just look at his career exclusively at Real Madrid, and that is enough. And I kind of think that he has rightly immersed himself in Brazilian football culture, rightly got his finger on the pulse, but... probably needs to take a leaf out of Thomas Tuchel's book in that regard. Don't listen to what people like Ollie Klink and Max Scott are saying about the team. Yep. Right? Pick what you want. And I'm not quite convinced that Carlo Ancelotti was desperate to have Neymar in that team. I think João Pedro, whilst yes, he's not the pedigree yet of a Neymar, whilst he's not got the name of Neymar, is a much better player on paper right now as it stands, and an effective goal scorer. So. Yeah, I think that's a mistake on Ancelotti's part.
Yeah, eight appearances for Brazil, no goals. 2 goals in the last 10 for Chelsea. I wasn't unbelievably shocked.
Yeah, no, but
squad.
He's still in his prime, and he's been playing for a shocking Chelsea team. And Brazil aren't exactly lighting the world up, are they? So I think that would have been a better footballing decision. But I'm not Carlo Ancelotti, so I'm not going to go too hard on it. But I think he'll probably regret it.
You are the Don, though, mate. in many ways. I heard Jason Cundy, who is not a Neymar fan at all, thinks he's massively overrated, comparing him to a few players. Or he was asked by Gabriel Bonlahor, where he would rank, and we started to think, didn't we, about the Neymar line. So where does he sit?
Well, you're stealing my thunder, actually, because you were rolling out of bed just when me and producer Ollie were having this conversation. So let me introduce this, actually, Ollie. The Neymar line is essentially a trademarked phrase by producer Ollie, which is essentially Neymar is the line, are players above the Neymar line or below the Neymar line. For example, I believe, like Jason Cundy, not necessarily as passionately, because as we know, Cundy likes an extreme, right? But I think Eden Hazard is definitely above the Neymar line.
I do.
I think at his peak, Eden Hazard was one of the best players on the planet at the time. Didn't last as long as it probably should have done. Real Madrid didn't turn out to be what it was meant to be. But I think he's above the Neymar line.
Okay, so, who's below the Neymar line?
Heung-min Son, for example, is an easy one to be. Okay, he's definitely below the Neymar line.
I think he's way below.
I'd accept that. He played for Spurs.
Yeah.
So... I think this is a better one, and for people like us born in the 90s, Robert Pires.
Oh, that's a really good one.
Because for me, there's that nostalgia. I remember watching Robert Pires and being absolutely mesmerised by him.
World Cup winner, by the way.
World Cup winner, yes. Didn't win a Champions League, I don't believe.
I think I'd have Neymar above him, though.
See, I'd have Perez above Neymar.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Physicality, I think he's more of an athlete. Yes, Neymar was unbelievably technically gifted, beating players, but I just prefer Robert Perez.
This is the beauty of the Neymar line, though, isn't it? It is the beauty of the Neymar line. But just for me, I just... What a talent he was, and the way that he could move with the ball, the way that it stuck to his feet. I just think he's one of the best footballers I've ever seen in terms of one to watch. Just
Thierry
to watch.
Henry.
He's above Neymar.
He's
Definitely above Neymar. I want to get a tricky... Oh, Gareth Bale. Where's he on the Neymar line?
To watch, entertainment value, and look, they both
Neymar's
played for
unbelievable to watch in his prime.
I'm saying Gareth Bale. I think Gareth Bale, in his peak, was better than Neymar in his peak. He's above the Neymar line. No, I don't hate him. I don't hate him, but in that team, I much preferred, obviously, Messi, much prefers Suarez. I went to a Barcelona game. They beat Getafe, I think it was, 6-1, and I got a Messi hat-trick, 2 from Suarez, 1 from Neymar. Suarez over.
You might as well just never go, and then you have to go back to watch Forest.
Yeah, Forest in the Championship at the time.
Mate.
For me, what is Bale below the Neymar line for you?
No, he's above it. And actually, I sometimes think Bale gets underrated.
Yeah, he
massively.
does. Yeah, he does.
Do you know what? I always feel sorry for Bale because he scored that unbelievable overhead kick in the Champions League final.
And that Copa del Rey one where he ran into the dugout and back out.
Exactly. But go back to the overhead kick. He scored that. But everyone remembers that final for Karius.
Yes.
And I just feel for him. So he scored one of the best goals in Champions League history in a final. And no one really talks about it. They just talk about the fact that Karius threw some into his own net. Newcastle legend, of course, Loris Karius, played about 3 games. One of them was a cup final. Very weird. Let's do some more. Ousmane Dembele, Ballon d'Or winner.
Okay, look, Ballon d'Or winner, back-to-back European Cup winner. But I would say... he's below the Neymar line.
Why is he below the Neymar? That's surprising. I thought he'd be above the Neymar line.
His recent record, you can get into that recency bias, but I don't think, for example, compared to Gareth Bale and Neymar, I don't think Dembele's got that wow factor. That's what I would say. And look, he's won a Ballon d'Or.
That's what Neymar is. It's the wow factor. And that's why there would be a lot of names on this list. So, for example, Ryan Giggs. Now, I think you're going to put him above the Neymar line. And you think about what he achieved, and it's unbelievable. But when you really think about it, if you were paying for a ticket for a game, who would you rather go and see?
Neymar. Yeah, I get that.
You would.
No, it's a good point.
You would.
But I just think I'd rather have Ryan Giggs in my team. If I was a manager, I'd want Ryan Giggs. What about, this is a great one, because I think he's underappreciated.
Mate, we could do this for that. I love this game.
Callum Hudson-Odoi.
Yeah, what a great idea by me. Callum Hudson-Odoi.
No. This is the one I think because he's not Brazilian or because he's not Spanish, he doesn't necessarily have that vavavoom. So I think he's been underrated. Arjen Robben.
Oh, good. That's good. Because for me, he's up there as one that you pay for a ticket.
Yeah.
Oh, watching him cutting in.
And yeah, did it for Chelsea, did it for Bayern, and you look at Neymar, he's only done it for Barca. And look, that's still no mean feat, the pressure, etc. But he did it in a generational team.
Yeah.
And I kind of think sometimes that's a lazy excuse to criticise a player. He won so much. But I would say Arjen Robben is above the Neymar line.
I think he is just, yeah. I think it's that point you made about doing it for Chelsea and Bayern. And I think, you look at that kind of drop-off that Neymar had. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Did Robben win anything for Germany?
For Holland, would it be?
There you go. Kick me off.
No, is the answer. No, get
it's
out.
Not even German.
Come on, get out. No, he didn't win anything for Germany, thanks. Because he's
We'll cut that from the clip.
Oh, great stuff. This is the S word here on the talkSPORT YouTube channel. Stay with us. Plenty more still to come. We might even do some more Neymar line. I think we should. I think we should do more Neymar lines later. Look, if you want to get involved on that as well and chuck some players at us, please do it. You can jump in the comment section right now on the talkSPORT YouTube channel.
From kickoff to the full-time whistle,
talkSPORT presents
the S word. The S Word.
Get your full-on football fix from across the football galaxy.
The S Word
From talkSPORT.
Welcome back to the S Word, sponsored by Kalshi, with me, Ollie Klink, and Max Scott. Right, it's time to turn our attention to arguably the shock of the World Cup so far. Australia with their sensational 2-0 win over Turkey early this morning. Max, what did you make of the Socceroos? Can we say Socceroos, or is that...
I quite like it, mate. And as someone that's even better at accents than me, it's quite nice to say Socceroos.
Socceroos, mate. Yeah. Unbelievable. But you had the Weekend Sports Breakfast this morning. Fantastic show as usual, and you had a very special guest.
Yes, we did. We spoke to Mark Bosnich, former Australia and Manchester United goalkeeper, and he was on absolute fire, as you'd imagine, just sort of buzzing with what Australia have achieved. Turkey, I think, going into this group, probably favourites to win the group. Arda Güler, one of their top players. And I guess I did not expect whatsoever, didn't expect one bit, Australia to score 2 goals. But it wasn't just that. It was when they went ahead, Australia defensively were unbelievable, so cohesive, so solid, so organised. But more importantly, the man between the sticks, Patrick Beach, their third choice goalkeeper, was given the starting lineup, and Mark Bosnich was absolutely raving about him.
All the game, all the talk was, Matt Ryan, because there was no controversy beforehand. Sometimes before a big tournament or a big game, maybe a bit of controversy, is so-and-so going to start, that was not in the conversation whatsoever. So of course when he was left out and become evident injured or anything, a lot of people were texting each other. I was ringing around, problem, whatever. So you have to hand it to Tony Popovich, Patrick Beach, and also the assistant coach, Paul Ocon Jr, who I played with his father. His father was like one of the great players of his generation anywhere. Big surprises, but who dares win? They came out on top. Patrick Beach, he made some phenomenal saves. That save in the first half when he saved it post from that long distance shot. The name eludes me, from Turkey was really an outstanding save.
Yeah, good on you, Bozzy. Let's cross down under now and speak to Teo Pellizzeri, host of talkSPORT Australia's new enterprise Down Under. Teo, how you doing?
Absolutely elated, as you can imagine, and really excited to be joining you as part of the talkSPORT family from Down Under, newly launched for this World Cup. So it's a pleasure to be talking to you from the other side of the world, where we are not top of the group, but we have 3 precious points in the bank in Group D.
Absolutely, mate. Let's talk about Patrick Beach, because Matt Ryan is quite a noisy bloke. And I think that, he's maybe been a controversial figure in the past. And I think what a brave decision to put in Patrick Beach, who, for me, probably along with Harry Suter, was up for man of the match there. I mean, made some unbelievable saves because Turkey were all over you like a rash, but you kept them quiet, defended incredibly well, and got a massive win in a World Cup, which could potentially see you, if things just stay as they are, get into knockout stages.
A phenomenal performance, and what a decision, courageous, ballsy, as we would say, decision from Tony Popovich as the coach. Only Patrick Beach's 3rd cap. He's only played about 70 games in the Australian A-League, and in his first season as the number 1 starter at Melbourne City, he was caught in possession in a Melbourne derby, conceded one of those horrible goals where the pressing striker gets you inside your own 6-yard box, and at that point it was like, is he even a starter at A-League level? And here he is in less than 2 years, making 8 saves from Turkey shots on target in this World Cup game. A phenomenal performance, and you can imagine that his stocks are only going to rise, as would be the case for Harry Suter. In a very Socceroosy sort of fashion, he doesn't even need to be playing in club football. He just brings his best for the national team, which is something that often, when our players are in disparate parts of the world, sometimes they fall out of favour, aren't playing first-team football. We need them to pull on the green and gold and become supermen, and that's exactly what Harry Suter has now done, at least in the 2022 tournament and the first game of 2026.
Teo, just how good, by the way, was Watford's Nestia and Kunda? What a goal, first of all. Probably, I think it's my favourite goal of the tournament so far. Just the pace and the power. The touch. Incredible. And also, just throughout that first half in particular, he was just running the Turkey defence ragged. I thought I was so impressed with him.
And the debate coming in was, would he start or not? Because he's been such an effective impact player. It took him a long time even to start in the A-League. He had well more goals than starts until right before he actually moved to Bayern Munich, since having been sold to Watford, where, again, I don't know if the Watford fans particularly like him. We Australians are obviously very tuned in to social media discourse in both the Premier League and the Championship because there's no language barrier. And we know that the Watford fans perhaps aren't in love with Nesta Irankunda, but we are. And his shooting is a phenomenon. And this was perhaps, I would suggest, one of the most conventional goals he scored. Normally he winds up from distance and pings them from anywhere, whereas this one was just a great touch on the end of an explosive run. And Tony Popovic was wise to sub him after an hour mark. Even at his young age of 20, he's not quite a 90-minute player yet, and that is what makes him so exciting, because his confidence will be through the moon, but we also know that he's going to be a burst player, whether it's starting or off the bench in this tournament.
From one goal scorer to another, Teo, Conor Metcalf's second goal from distance as well. You know, in one of the only moments in that game where you really alleviated pressure and came up clutch. Unbelievable finish.
And we needed it because, as you say, Turkey were on top, and that was the perfect against the run sort of moment that Australia needed. And coming into the match, that's honestly how I thought we were most likely to score, hitting on the counter and taking our chance when it presented. And just like Matthew Leckie against the Danes in 2022, here's Metcalf coming off the disappointment of relegation at St. Pauli. Maybe his future in club football a little bit up in the air. It's always the case when your team gets relegated, no longer in the top 5 leagues, having fallen out of the Bundesliga. But he, again, has been a Tony Popovic favourite for Australia all through qualifying, all through preparation friendlies. He's a boy from Newcastle, again, has been in the A-League for the development stages of his career and now getting it done on the big stage. And someone that the entire team could rally around, as you could see there. It was an outpouring of celebration. And the 2-goal buffer, they steered it to the finish line, much to Turkey's frustration. They were pretty salty at full time, it must be said, not giving Australia a great deal of credit. They said they dominated the game, but they certainly didn't get the better of us when it came to taking their chances on goal.
Yeah, it was interesting as well, and this must have felt good for those Aussie players, because the Turkey captain Hakan Çalhanoğlu told Aussie journalists the day before his side were going to dominate, that they were much more talented than Australia. To stick one on them after that, do you reckon that fired the players up? Because they must have heard it. I mean, that is the team talk from Popovic, isn't it? Yeah. He just has to read out those quotes.
I think perhaps we're lucky that not too many of the teams speak Spanish, because the United States have been talking trash about us from the moment the draw got done. Turkey were happy to certainly tell us that they were the better team. And let's be honest, with players like Arda Güler and Kenan Yildiz and Çalhanoğlu, player for player, they probably did actually have us covered. And I was extremely worried about what it was going to look like, giving them 70% of possession or more, because they've got the talent to score against us. And it was just the defensive organisation, the 3 big boppers at centre-back, Cam Burgess, Harry Suter and Ale Chakati. He's at Parma. I think he'll attract a transfer fee of 15 to 20 million euros after this World Cup if Parma want to sell. There's so much to like about the commitment and organisation. And Tony Popovic, you might remember him from his Crystal Palace days when he played in England, or his previous exploits at World Cups as a player. His number one priority for this team is be fit, have endurance, be physically prepared for everything. And as we know, World Cups outside of Europe, they so often go in favour of the teams that are physically ready for the challenging conditions.
Teo, we have a big American audience here. We're sat in for the very own Master Tesfatsion, who I know is watching this. He's feeling incredibly confident, understandably so, by the way, after a stunning opener from Maurizio Pochettino and his men. How are you feeling about going up against the States? Because you're both top in the group. You've both got really important wins under your belt. And as you say, there's a lot of confidence in the States now off the back of that performance. How do you feel about going up against them? Is there a little bit of an extra sort of grit between your teeth a little bit because you're going against the hosts who are so confident now?
Oh, 100%. The Americans have the biggest mouths. You know, they believe in American exceptionalism, and they should. They are an exceptional nation. They are going to put on a spectacular World Cup, but we're there to spoil their party. And I suspect that the likes of Alexi Lalas and Mike Greller and these pundits who have targeted Australia, you know, Lalas saying we are at best an average team, Greller saying that the match against Australia would be a layup. This has been the bulletin board material that this team has carried with it for 6 months, and our fan base, we have memes at the ready. You know, we have a saying in this country, soccer Twitter, soccer SOKKAH, soccer Twitter is undefeated. And we reckon we are coming for the Yanks. I know they beat us in a friendly last year, but hubris and karma, I think, might be on Australia's side, and we are ready to shock the world all over again.
Yeah, decent players, hubris and karma, aren't they? Yeah, what are they, the right back and just before you go, Teo, and thanks very much for joining us. A bit earlier, Max and I, we were talking about Neymar, and our producer Ollie's come up with a fantastic idea, the Neymar line. So, for example, Eden Hazard is above the Neymar line, but we were arguing that Son Heung-min is below the Neymar line. Tim Cahill, where would he be on that Neymar line?
Oh, goodness me. I mean, he is Australia's all-time top scorer in both World Cups and in men's football. So I think that he would be above in terms of return on investment, but maybe not in terms of profile, although he is becoming very famous and influential, Tim Cahill. If we're ever going to have a president of FIFA as an Australian, Tim's our guy. So you know what?
He's doing a better job than that fraud Infantino.
He's rising towards the line, even if he hasn't gone over it just yet. That's what I will say.
Teo, it's been an absolute pleasure, mate, and good luck for that game against the United States. Hoping you get over the line purely because Martha's watching this right now. Teo, thanks very much.
Cheers, pleasure to join you. And remember, the World Cup's on in a perfect time zone for us. I know you guys are struggling over there with the games in the middle of the night, so welcome to our world. We were already winners before this tournament kicked off. Thank you.
Yeah, finally for you guys. Teo, thank you very much indeed. Teo Pellizzeri there, Aussie football journalist. I spoke to Tim Cahill at Soccer Aid recently.
Yeah, good bloke.
Timmy.
Is that what you see you?
Great bloke. Do you know what? We had a really interesting chat about Mikel Arteta because it was just before the Champions League final. And
they were teammates at Everton.
They were teammates at Everton. And he was talking about the fact that he's in almost that inner circle of Arteta throughout the season. He was talking about how much Arteta will get in touch with him every now and then and have a bit of self-doubt. And Tim Cahill's job, along with family and friends in that circle, were kind of helping him get over the line. It was such a fascinating conversation. And yeah, what a great bloke. And by the way, he still got it. Scored at Soccer Aid as well. Oh, yeah, brilliant. One of those ex-players where you think, you can still play. Yeah, 100% can still play. Is he above the Neymar line for you?
No, he's not, is he?
He can't be. He can't be.
As a bloke,
yeah.
he's above the line. But not as a player.
Let's continue with the Neymar line. I'm enjoying it so much. Right, I want to do a few more players. Who did we get to? We got to Iron Robin, didn't we? Did we do Bukayo Saka? I don't think we did. Bukayo Saka. England's Bukayo Saka.
Bukayo Saka is below the Neymar line. And I know, there may be some inconsistency here because I'm saying that the German Arjen Robben is above him, or that Gareth Bale. But no, I mean, Gareth Bale is a better player than Bukayo Saka. I don't think that's controversial right now.
No.
But I would say Bukayo Saka is below the Neymar line, particularly considering.
Is that recency bias, though, because he has had a bit of a poor season with Arsenal? Are we forgetting just how good he can be? Not just for Arsenal, by the way, but for England.
Yeah, no, he comes up clutch for England, doesn't he?
I don't think Saka gets enough praise for the holes he dug England out of in Euro 2024.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
Yeah.
I understand that. I think Raheem Sterling's another player that's hugely underappreciated for England.
Where is he on the Neymar line? Where is Raheem Sterling on the Neymar line? That's tricky. That is tricky.
That's solid, mate. Is
he exactly on the line? Is he
maybe
just as good?
It's the Raheem Neymar line.
The Neymar Sterling line.
Would you have him above?
He achieved a lot. He achieved
multiple different clubs.
Multiple different clubs.
And the
thing is, obviously his career it has tailed off a bit.
But so's Neymar's.
True.
I'm going to say Raheem Sterling is above the Neymar line and Bukayo Saka's below it.
So you're saying Sterling... Sterling above Saka as well.
What about you?
I'm going to go that Sterling's below the Neymar line. And I'm going back to that argument of, if I was paying for a ticket, I'd rather watch Neymar. I would. I'd rather watch Neymar. I don't... Whereas with Gareth Bale, I actually would probably... Even though it's not the same flicks and tricks and ball stuck to his feet, etc., what a player to watch Gareth Bale was.
Oh, my word. Value, incredible.
Yeah, the goals he would score, shots from range. So it's a different viewing experience, but I would rather watch Gareth Bale, I think. Whereas Sterling, I'm watching Neymar, man. I am, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's maybe a bit controversial. But I'm thinking of a player right now that plays in the top 5 European leagues that I think is very similar to Neymar at the minute.
Okay.
Who do you think that is? And I'm putting you on the spot.
Lamine Yamal?
Lamine Yamal. I wasn't thinking of him, but that's probably better. Is Lamine Yamal above or below the Neymar line?
I tell you what, let's do that after the break. We need to have a think about that one because we've already had the controversy of Sterling taking it and it potentially becoming the Neymar.
Yeah, I might need to change my mind on this.
Plenty still to come here on the S Word. We're going to chat to a Haitian football journalist a bit later on to find the lowdown on them, because them being at the tournament is absolutely incredible given everything that's been going on there. Their fans were fantastic last night despite the result. And the Crookie monster, Alex Crook, is going to join us live from Dallas, where, I don't know if you've seen it, but he's got himself a cowboy outfit. I cannot wait to chat to him about that. This is the S Word.
Big name reaction from both sides of the pond.
The S Word
from talkSPORT.
S Word, featuring Will Gavin and Master Tess Fassian.
And a squad of big-name contributors.
The S Word
from talkSPORT.
Hello, welcome back to the S Word here on the talkSPORT YouTube channel. I'm Ollie Klink alongside the brilliant Max Scott. Plenty still to come for you. We'll chat a bit of Haiti in just a moment. We need to talk about the kit that Switzerland wore against Qatar. I don't really even care about the result. Yeah. That is the worst kit. That might be one of the worst.
The kit's worse than the game.
It was shocking. The result for Switzerland. By the way, they should be kicking themselves. That is such a winnable group.
Is that the first point that Qatar ever got from a World Cup?
It is.
I mean, that's a disgrace. The kit is shocking as well, mate. Because there are so many amazing kits in this tournament, and they've just ruined it.
I think they should start on -3. I think they should start on -3 points because of that kit. It's absolutely honking. If you haven't seen it, it's this awful fluorescent. It looks like a training top, but a bad training top.
It looks like a snail's crawled across it and has lived on the shirt.
Yeah, it's so true. And that was like the pace of the game, wasn't it, really? Let's be honest. But yeah, so much still to come for you. We're also going to chat to our chief football correspondent, the cowboy, Alex.
Did you see what he was... Sorry, mate. I know we're going to get all positive in a minute, but he came on My Breakfast Show this morning and he was wearing a Germany shirt. And he's an Englishman.
What?
He wore a Germany shirt doing a hit outside of the stadium Germany going to play in.
No.
And he's an Englishman.
No.
And he's one of the most well-known football correspondents in this great nation on camera wearing a Germany shirt. I can't wait to speak to him. Because
sorry, I've only got one question. When is he getting sacked?
Yeah, exactly.
That is an absolute disgrace.
Dreadful.
I can't
wait
that.
for him to come
on.
on.
To be fair, though, let's be fair. There will be some people, we're hearing you say that, and me and you are on the same page where I don't care where Thomas Tuchel's from, to be honest.
Yeah, there was something... well, technically, you've actually got a German manager.
Exactly.
It's hypocritical. Yes, but for us, he's our guy. He's on our side, right? So it's totally different. And if there's a German fan that wants to wear... If there's a guy from Germany wants to wear an England shirt, be my guest. But the other way around, absolutely not. Crooked disgrace. Can't wait for him to come on.
No, yeah, we have to absolutely get into that. Just in terms of rivalries too, Max, it's quite an interesting one with Germany because for me, obviously, they're England's biggest rivals, which is why there is so much controversy over Thomas Tuchel being the manager in the first place. Not necessarily because it's a foreign coach. I think it's more that he's come from the team that we believe to be, or the country that we believe to be our biggest footballing rivals. Who would you have as England's biggest rivals?
For me personally, I think it's Germany and then France and then Argentina.
France, really?
Yeah. Yes.
Why?
Because... I've got to be careful what I just don't think the French like us and we don't like them. Right, that's what I think, and also the French are so good, and they're insufferably good, and we've been poor against them, and so certainly from a footballing perspective, I can't stand the French because they always beat us.
I think it's actually Argentina that you said there. They're the two that I would have, Germany and Argentina, because of that football context too, the hand of God. Yeah. I mean, literally for the hand of God alone.
Yeah, this is true. And then Simeone on Beckham.
There you go. There you go.
Simeone managed to convince the nation to hate Beckham and his wife and his unborn children at the time. Right? So. Yeah, I mean, Argentina are definitely up there, but for me, because we play the French more often, we play them in the Euros, and it's that sort of recency bias, recent heartbreak. But for me, Germany is right at the top. For producer Ollie, it's Scotland. No. And he's an Englishman wearing a Hibs shirt right now, by the way.
I never really understand that. I know earlier you said you kind of want Scotland to do well at the tournament. Mate, I'll be honest, for me, checking the Scotland score is like checking the Qatar Switzerland score. I just don't.
It doesn't register for you.
I know they're part of the UK, and that's great, and I know they hate us, and they're absolutely welcome to. But for me, it's a bit like the kind of Arsenal Spurs. I mean, it's not the little boy Scotland. But it's like the Arsenal Spurs thing. Like you speak to a lot of Arsenal fans who just go, I'm not even that bothered about Tottenham. It's a one-way hatred. I'm really not. Obviously, if it came to England playing them, which we have seen in recent tournaments, I want England to win, but if you're talking about who I'd rather beat out of the teams you've just listed there, it's got to be Germany, it's got to be Argentina. You'd be worried to lose to Scotland just because they'd have an absolute field day. But
who'd you rather lose to out of Germany, Argentina and Scotland?
Weirdly Scotland.
Yeah.
Weirdly Scotland.
Because it's like your little brother finally beating you in a game of one-man Wembley. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what it's like. And sorry to be patronising, but I do think you've got to give Scottish fans a little bit back because there are so many English people that are like, it'd be great if you did well. We want them to do well. And then as soon as something goes wrong, they're all over you. So you've got to give it back to the Scottish fans a little bit. It feels like the little brother, and or like the year 11s playing the year 7s. They're always going to win. Every now and again they might not because the bully's in detention at lunchtime, and so maybe the year 7s win every now and again.
Are you an older brother?
Oh yeah, of course I am, mate.
So you're used to those
in real life. I am an older brother. Yeah.
I'm a younger brother, so I'm the Scotland of the family in a big way. What about though? I know I've just said it there with the whole. It's like checking the Colombia score. Just checking. I don't really care. But imagine if Scotland won the World Cup. Do you know what?
I can't because it won't happen.
And actually, that's a bit like Wales when they got to the semi-finals.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing.
And I started to get really
nervous. But then I was thinking, now, I've had enough of this.
Yeah, calm down now.
Yeah,
calm down now.
They've got to know their place.
And we're talking about England who've won one World Cup, by the way. It's just crazy. So you can see why, they get wound up by us for sure. Just going back to the Germany thing, it is interesting because there's a bit of a misconception over England and Germany being rivals. And weirdly, it's a bit like that Scotland debate that we've just had there from a German perspective, because they see the Netherlands as their biggest rivals. And that has so much history going back through the World Cup. You had the spit on Rudi Völler, which is an iconic moment. So if you ask German football fans what they feel about England, they'll probably just say, well, yeah, we've beaten them loads of times and beaten them on penalties and they were there for the taking. I don't think they really look at it as, yeah, we have to beat England. And so Tuchel maybe even taking that job, he'll have known about the history.
It's funny
in this country.
I spoke to Ralf Honigstein, German football expert, friend of talkSPORT, and he was actually saying that there will be lots of Germans because, we're very fond of each other as a people. I've been to Berlin quite a lot, and the people in Germany are great people. And so interestingly, Ralf Honigstein was like, if Germany get knocked out, there'll be a lot of Germans that actually want England to win.
Yeah, I mean, Bayern fans and Harry Kane as well.
Harry Kane. So. But having said that, I can't stand them as a football team and desperately want to beat them. And when we beat them in the Euros at Wembley, that was something else. And when Thomas Muller went through on goal, and I think he just narrowly missed, and I knew in that moment it was our day. That was probably one of the highlights of my England support.
Did you enjoy that more than one of the goals?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
I think I did.
Because he seemed to be through on goal for an age. And so, for me it is Germany, France, Argentina. So, you can chuck Scotland in there maybe if we play them, but we rarely play them, and I'm pretty confident that if we were to face them in this World Cup, it wouldn't be a problem.
Thomas Muller, Neymar line? I think he's above.
He's above the Neymar line. He is one of the greats, of the greats, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, he's got to be up there. Do you know what I was just thinking there, though? Are we Germany's little brother? Are we Germany's little brother? We might be,
In footballing terms, probably, yeah. You'd have to say so.
Yeah, because look, let's be honest. We won that game. And do you know what I love about that? And there's people that I know, obviously, who work at talkSPORT who were commentating on the game and were there and taking that atmosphere. And you forget that there was only, 60,000 because it was COVID times. And so many people I've spoken to who were at that game said it's the loudest they've ever heard Wembley.
Wow.
And there was 30,000 people missing. And that shows just how much it meant to those England fans. But at the same time, it wasn't a good Germany team.
I'd love to poll this for any English men and women in the chat. Can you just rank your top 3 sort of biggest rivals? Because I can't see past Germany personally. And I think obviously a part of that is tied to history, but particularly, I think because you're right, Ollie, there's this sort of they probably are our big brother in terms of football. We might have founded the sport, it might have been a sport that we gave as a gift to the world, but they've been far more successful internationally than us, without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah. So let us know in the chat, if you're an Englishman or an Englishwoman, rank your top 3 rivals. For me, it's Germany every day of the week.
Yeah, they've been wedging us for a long time. Also, I'd love to hear from some US fans as to who would you love to beat? Who would be your big rivals? So jump in the chat too. Max, obviously the World Cup now feels very much as if it's underway. We've had plenty of games, we've had some brilliant goals, etc. Do you want to chat a bit about what we've loved so far from the tournament? What would you say so far has kind of caught your eye? Look, there's been so much controversy. Yeah. There's been so many things that I haven't liked, and we can have a quick chat about that too. But let's bring a bit of love and talk about what we've enjoyed so far from this tournament.
Precisely because of the things that you've mentioned in terms of there's been so much negativity in the run-up to this, whether that's the pricing, whether that's the politicisation of it from Infantino and Donald Trump, all of that sort of stuff. For me, the Azteca opening game, Mexico, the noise, the passion in a footballing nation was that, for me, that was the peak, right? I absolutely loved what it meant to Mexico, and in a stadium that is a football stadium with football soul. That for me was like, we can finally talk about the football. We can finally forget about all of the reasons which understandably we can moan about the World Cup, of which there are many. But that moment was like a sigh of relief. It's like this is what it's about.
Yeah.
Maybe, just maybe, those extortionate prices, the early get-up times, the ridiculous kick-off times, they're a little bit more worth it now.
Yeah.
And that's not to excuse all the other things, but the Azteca I think was the perfect moment. It's what FIFA needed as well, because they're under so much pressure, and to have the Mexico win, Raul Jimenez, 35, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, whether he played football again was a genuine question, and at the age of 35, scoring at the sort of spiritual home of Mexican football, him crying with the fans, and that image of the guy filming it, and you can see he's clearly been filming himself, and he turns it round and you can see the reflection of Raul Jimenez weeping in the camera. That was a real moment for me.
Yeah, you're kind of instantly plunged into nostalgia, I think, with the World Cup opening game. And I love the fact it was a repeat of 2010.
Yes.
Because that was one of the most iconic opening games. Shabalala's goal, obviously.
The Vuvuzelas.
The Vuvuzelas, everything about that and that World Cup kind of came back into your memory. And it was almost the other way around, wasn't it? Because South Africa just looked so overwhelmed by that atmosphere. And that's kind of what you want to see. And I think you're right that it was a real win for FIFA that first game was in Mexico, like you say, a proper football stadium. Do you know what I've enjoyed so far is the fact that a lot of players, because I think it's something that we were missing, apart from if you played for Aston Villa in the Premier League this season, we've seen a lot of shots from range, not necessarily goals from range yet, but people are having a go. And I think the reason they're having a go is this ball. It's not quite the Jabalani, right? It's not quite, dipping and swerving throughout the air. We haven't got a Diego Forlan yet, who's just going to be an absolute wizard with it. But they're having a go, and I'm really enjoying that. And I actually think you might see it a bit more throughout the tournament, mainly because of the heat that we keep talking about.
But they're all knackered. They're
just have a pop.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think there's Ollie made a really interesting point, our producer, that a lot of these teams, particularly Australia, we heard from Teo there that these players play on different continents, and so they're very rare. They don't really know each other. They don't have much time to play together, and maybe they just get to a point where they're like, I'm actually not really that sure about the patterns of play. I'm not really sure about what the gaffer wants me to do here. We've been under the pump against Turkey. I'm just going to lever it, and we saw that for Australia's second goal. And so on the ball, though, I do think FIFA, that's one thing they got right. The ball looks great.
Yeah, it does.
It's one of those, it's a proper football.
Yeah, it's iconic.
And so, I sincerely hope that England do it. I sincerely hope with the players that we've got in midfield, the likes of Declan Rice, who can absolutely whip one. We saw it in against Real Madrid last season. I'd love to see more of that. Harry Kane, I mean, he's got to be the Golden Boot winner if England are going to win the World Cup. So I certainly hope that. But yeah, it's been nice. And even Scotland 4-4-2 yesterday. It didn't actually work for them. But I like the fact that there's sort of two strikers playing together, a sort of bit of a flashback to the sort of, the Peter Crouch and Defoe days. I'm liking this return to a bit more direct football, because I've become a little bit bored of this conveyor belt Pep Guardiola imitation football that's all about systems, all about quadrants, and that bores me. Have a shot, have a crack.
Yeah, and actually, I've really enjoyed some of the attacking football that we have seen. I covered the South Korea Czech Republic game for talkSPORT. I think that the opening half was extremely cagey. It was very much a opening group game, don't want to lose.
Yeah.
And then the second half, the Czechs go ahead with a set piece. They are the set piece kings. And that brought South Korea out. And some of the football they were playing was excellent. And then you compare it to the USA, who I thought were on the front foot and confident.
They were relentless.
They blew them away.
The intensity and the fitness from that team was incredible. And another thing I wanted to say, which is, much more specific, Folarin Balogun. An absolute powerhouse. He could not be contained, and to announce himself in the opener of a tournament which could be a watershed moment for football in America, for the growth of the sport. This is my take, and it's way too early to give this, but I think that Folarin Balogun, by the end of this tournament, is going to have scored 5 goals, and he's going to go to a top European team. He's at Monaco at the minute, but they're not a top elite European team. I think, with his pedigree at Arsenal, his pedigree playing for England, by the way, and I like to remind our American viewers about that, schooled in the English game. That second finish was like a FIFA finish, ripped it into the top bins.
Yeah, he's got finesse on.
Unbelievable. And I just think that Folarin Balogun, if he plays in that way, he's going to be, wanted by multiple teams.
Is he almost a mannequin in the shop window of the World Cup? Is he James Rodriguez?
He's the James Rodriguez without a shadow of a doubt. That's what I'm hoping anyway, because I think that if the USA do well, the World Cup does well. If the USA shine, then there's a much more of an appetite and a hunger from the public over there to get involved in the World Cup. And I thought Balogun's second goal, for me, that's a goal of the tournament. Unbelievable finish. I'd love to see it.
Certainly so far. One more thing that I've really enjoyed.
Go on.
Alexi Lalas. He's been absolutely amazing. If you haven't seen the clips, if you're living under a rock, accidentally swore about James Corden. It was absolutely hilarious. There's even a clip of him talking about Haaland and Ibrahimovic. And the clip starts with Lalas. And he's there going, do you know what? If Haaland has a really good World Cup, I would say that, he's probably better than Ibrahimovic. And then it just pans away, and obviously he's right next to him. I was like, careful, mate. And he says, no, I love you, but still. And then Zlatan just comes back in his absolute Zlatan. He said that Haaland said that in a game he wants 2 touches and 2 goals. And Zlatan says, but what I wanted was 2 touches and 3 goals. Love that.
Love that. But what I enjoy is that the host and Thierry Henry in particular, Zlatan's impervious. Zlatan's magnanimous. He can deal with that because he's got that. They don't know how to deal with him. They can't, particularly with that James Corden one. It was a bit like if you and I had a guest on one of our shows and we, you don't know what to do if someone swears, you sort of hit the dump button. You can't really do that on live TV.
Yeah, exactly.
And they can't deal with it. Yeah, he's been top. He's been great.
We need to get them one of these for sure. Absolutely. Loads still to come for you on the S Word. We're going to chat to Caleb Pierre, Haitian football journalist, after the break to talk about their opening game against Scotland. We'll look ahead to Sunday's games. There's some absolute belters on the way. Netherlands against Japan, the standout pick, so we'll look ahead to that. And the Crookie monster, Alex Crook, our cowboy correspondent out in Dallas, will join us a bit later on. Will he be wearing his Germany shirt?
Not be.
What a joke.
From the touchline to the terraces,
talkSPORT presents
the S Word. talkSPORT presents
the S Word.
High energy exchanges, fiery fan reactions, and the biggest football debate.
The S Word.
From talkSPORT.
Hello, welcome back to the S Word on the talkSPORT YouTube channel and on the S Word YouTube channel. Please subscribe. This show comes to you every single day between 1 and 3 p.m. UK time. I'm Ollie Klink, rather. That is the sign that I had my 30th birthday last night. Come on, I can't even get my name out. Can't even say my own name. I'm Ollie Klink alongside Max Scott with you throughout the afternoon. We're going to be joined by Alex Crook a little bit later on, who was in a Germany shirt live on Max's show on talkSPORT a bit earlier. As an England fan, I mean, look, I want Tuchel to do well and go all the way, but you cannot be wearing a Germany shirt. Can I just ask you very quickly on that?
Yes.
Do you have any other shirt other than a Forest shirt or an England shirt?
I do.
Do you?
I do. I have Argentinian family.
What?
Yes. So I've got a real affinity with Buenos Aires, with Argentina, despite. And
Maxi Rodriguez.
Yeah, that's it. So I've got a Boca Junior shirt. I'm a massive Boca fan. I'm not. Sorry, I don't think they won the league, but I like Boca Juniors.
Are they a bigger club than Forest?
Nah.
Oh, I think they are.
Nah, they're not, mate. They've not won 2 European Cups back to back.
Well, they can't.
But I do have, for my sins, I've got an Argentina shirt, which, look, I'm not a massive football shirt wearer. I might occasionally...
Hold on, you're laying into Crook.
Yeah.
The Germany shirt. You've got an Argentina shirt.
Yeah, I know, but I wouldn't wear it on air. I probably wouldn't even wear it to the gym. I might wear it if I'm just lazing about on the sofa. I might. I'll wear a Forest shirt to the gym. I'll wear an England shirt to the gym. I'll wear an England shirt on air during a major tournament. But that's probably about it for me. However, despite I can acknowledge the fact that Germany make unbelievable stash, right? They're sponsored by Adidas. England need to be sponsored by Adidas because the kits that they're bringing out these days are far above the stock Nike kits that we get.
So you take a German manufacturer?
Take a German manufacturer, but never a German badge, right? So look, I've got an Argentina shirt. I don't really wear it, but I certainly would not wear it doing a hit on talkSPORT during the World Cup.
No, come on, Crook.
I can't wait for Crook to come on.
That's a red card, that.
Can we just get him on now, please?
Yeah.
Do 40 solid minutes of tearing him a new one, because that is not good enough.
Mate, I only own Newcastle shirts and England shirts. I can't bring myself, even if it was like there's some unbelievable kits. And I know
what about Boca Junior shirt, for example? You look great in the yellow and blue.
I'd look good in most of them, mate. I'd look good in the Swiss kit, mate. And that's a joke. That is the worst shirt I think I've ever seen.
Swiss kit's terrible. Are you saying you would never wear any other kit?
No, and also, mate, Newcastle's home shirt this season. And might struggle to wear that one.
Can we talk about the awkward situation about you being invited to their kit launch?
Yeah, it was a fantastic evening. I really enjoyed it.
And you smiling and like, doing good PR about the shirt when actually
Scan for details. Yeah. No, it was a fantastic evening in there, and I really enjoyed it. But honestly, going back to the shirt conversation, I don't think I could. I don't think and they were talking about this on How to Win the World Cup. It was a brilliant podcast, by the way. You should check it out. I think it was Matt Ford, a big Forest fan, of course.
Yes.
Saying the same as me.
Great bloke.
He couldn't wear another kit. It just doesn't feel right to me.
I understand not wearing another nation's kit, but
what about like a Barca kit?
I don't know. I'll tell you what I've got. I've got this season's Real Madrid third kit, the blue kit, with Bellingham on the back.
Oh.
Because I love Jude Bellingham, as you know. I'm a staunch defender of Bellingham, and I'm not having this idea that Jude Bellingham is the problem. No, he's not. Thomas Tuchel's lazy comments have been the problem. That's a separate issue. Let's get it straight. Jude Bellingham's absolutely magic. There's nothing wrong with him being the leader, him being Bolshy, him saying facts. Who else, because nobody else. That's the facts. So I have, in admiration for him, I've got a Jude Bellingham Real Madrid shirt, and I do wear that.
Would you wear a Bayern Munich Kane shirt? German shirt?
Yeah, I would wear it. Yeah, German but shirt? In what context? I'd probably wear it. I would never wear it at the City Ground. I'd never, But yeah, I ain't got a problem wearing another club shirt outside of England. I would never wear a Newcastle shirt, although I've got great respect for Newcastle. Would obviously never wear another Premier League shirt. Wouldn't dare look at a Derby County shirt. But I'm not having it. It's what the New York Knicks have just won the playoffs, have just won the championship the first time in 53 years. It's like wearing a Boston shirt. You just wouldn't do it. It's like wearing a 76er shirt. You would not do it. And so, but for outside, outside of the continent or outside of the UK, yes, I would. But I wouldn't wear another nation's shirt.
I can't believe you've got an Argentina kit and you're trying to come for cricket.
I've not got a kit. No, it's not, mate.
You're
it's
a full kit.
Yeah, no.
What would Alexi Lalas say? We won't go into that.
So wait, no, but I've got to get this straight. Are you saying you wouldn't wear another club's shirt?
No.
Not even a River Plate shirt?
No.
A Juventus shirt?
No.
A Madrid shirt?
No. Juventus probably the closest I'd get.
What, because it's black and white?
Because it's black and white. By the way, have you seen how nice their shirt is?
No, I've not seen it.
Oh, it's so nice. And it's Adidas. It's what we should have. Oh,
mate, you've got Adidas, but you've got a weird...
Gutting.
Yeah, mate, let's get over that. It's a shocking shirt. Almost as bad as the Switzerland kit, by the way.
Oh, no,
have you heard this? But sorry, because Switzerland drew 1-1 with Qatar, right? Have you seen this story about the goal scorer for Qatar has been given £500,000?
No way.
It's unbelievable stuff.
Does he get £500,000 per goal?
Yeah, it must be. So Qatar's public investment funds announced that Kuki, who scored that goal, will receive $3 million and the latest Rolls-Royce Phantom worth $550,000 after scoring the equaliser against Switzerland.
Mate, I think we should use taxpayers' money to do the same with Harry Kane. I don't care how many he scores. Raise the taxes. I'll pay it. I'll happily pay it.
Doctors will go on strike, but it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Take the money, give it to Kane.
One man wearing a fantastic shirt is Caleb Pierre, who's a Haitian football journalist. We're going to look back on that loss for Haiti to Scotland last night. Caleb, how are you doing?
Hey, man, I'm good, and you?
Yeah, really good, thank you. Love the shirt. Listen, it wasn't the result that Haiti wanted last night, but in so many ways, the story behind them being there in the first place and the performance they put in, I didn't think they deserved to lose last night at all, but what a special occasion despite the result.
Yeah, it's hard to wake up this morning, for example, because when you see that game yesterday night, we say it might be a chance to probably get a point in that group, but unfortunately we lose, and in a certain way because we play a good football, and then also we might have some situation where the referee can probably give penalty, but he didn't. And we see proud, the player are proud of themselves for what they do on the pitch. And then we move forward for the next game against Brazil. We all are excited to see what the team going to propose against Brazil in the next game in Philadelphia.
Is there a feeling amongst Haitians that are sort of so proud of where you've come, where you've come from? I mean, we're talking about a nation whose manager has never been in the country. I mean, that in and of itself speaks so much about how far this team has come. Is there an appreciation for the fact that you're here, or is there the morning after a real frustration that you played a side that you could have gotten something from?
I would say both, because first of all, we are proud of being there and the World Cup, because we have been waiting for so long, more than 50 years. A lot of generation didn't see that Haiti is playing in the World Cup. The last time was in 1974. That long time ago, my father wasn't born yet. So it was a proud moment, and we are all proud. And then the main goal was to show what Haiti has. And beside all the news and all the bad news that's surrounding the country every day, and that's what the player do. And then when we saw the game, and then we say there might be a chance, because Scotland is have all my respect, but it's not the best team in the world. So we can't compete against them. And then when we see that game, there's a frustration, because we see that we could get a better result than the defeat.
Caleb, obviously you speak about the issues that are ongoing in the country, and you know the fact that the football team haven't played on home soil for such a long time. Max just pointed out there about the fact the manager hasn't set foot in the country. For those people who don't know, could you just explain what it is that is going on over there that makes those things so difficult right now?
Well, from 5 years ago, our president, Jovenel Moïse, was killed in his house. So before that was terrible, but after that was even more terrible, because a lot of things are going on. Gang members fighting against each other probably every day. And when we got qualified to the World Cup, it's something huge. And then you see that there is hope, and gang members celebrating with everybody, because, you know, that's something we didn't do like for a long time ago. And we didn't play home since 2021. So that's a long time. Because of that, every country now put us on the red list to say, oh, no, don't go there. Don't go to Haiti because Haiti is dangerous. There's a lot of things going on. And, Haiti is a small country who's trying to survive. And sometimes it's difficult for us. So being there in the World Cup was, I would say, a big thing because, when you are there, you can show the world who's the real Haiti, what is the real Haiti. And that's what we did. And I'm so proud to see that too.
You talk about showing the world who the real Haiti was. I've got to say, I know that Scottish fans, the Tartan Army, really took over, and they've got a name for themselves for the way they travel and the atmosphere that they bring. But I've got to say, watching the game, Haiti fans made themselves known, and they brought the party. And I was speaking to our Scottish football correspondent, Shaban, who was at the game in Boston, saying that even after the game, Haiti fans were celebrating, were singing, were having a party, and that in and of itself is a great image for the country on the world stage.
Yeah, of course, because we don't know what's next for us. Because the CONCACAF and the CONCACAF zone this year, USA, Canada, and Mexico didn't play the qualifiers, so that's kind of sort of way easier for us to get in the World Cup. And then for the next World Cups, they're gonna be there to play the qualifiers. So, we have a good team right now because there's a lot of good players who join us to build something. But we have to enjoy this moment because we never know what's happening next. So that's why people are showing themselves in the stadium with the flag, with the jerseys. They are singing, they are like dancing because you don't know.
Yeah.
The older generation didn't see that, so that's our moment. So we are proud, and then we are taking over it to celebrate it.
It's Brazil up next for you, Caleb, which is a big ask, of course. I'm sure you might have had eyes on the Brazil-Morocco game. It wasn't the best performance from Brazil. Is there a world where Haiti can make life difficult for them?
Of course, because we saw the game against Brazil too, and then we say that the Brazil we know is he didn't show up yesterday against Morocco, because we see the game, we see a lot of difference between both teams. So it is Brazil, and then Brazil in the World Cup after a draw in the first game, they're gonna go to the win in the second game. So it's gonna be a more difficult game for us, because it's another opponent, and then Brazil gonna use another strategy to at least get the 2 points to get to the next round. It's gonna be difficult, but I will say that our player gonna give themselves for the country, give themselves for the people who's going to the game, because there's a lot of Haitian who's going to the game. And a funny fact is that in Haiti, when I was growing up, everybody was like 90% of the country actually support Brazil and the World Cup. So it's gonna be a game like where we don't have choice. A lot of people don't have choice to support Haiti, but at the same time, we're gonna say if Brazil score, I might be happy too, because that's my second country in the World Cup. But it's gonna be a great game, and I'm sure that our country gonna playing well again, like they did yesterday against Scotland.
Yeah, it's a win-win for you, Caleb, then, so you can just enjoy the game overall. Thank you very much for joining us, mate.
Pleasure, mate.
Hey, thank you, man, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
There we go, Caleb Pierre there, Haitian football journalist. You know what? My rule about shirts might have to change. That was a lovely kid.
It's a good shirt.
Lovely shirt.
Jason Cundy wearing one yesterday.
I really enjoyed that.
That was so good.
I've got to be honest. I really enjoyed it. He is the king of the wind-up.
Just when you thought that his reaction, or the reaction he got to wearing a PSG shirt in the Champions League final, might quiet him down, the pressure, the people saying that he's dragging talkSPORT in the mud, etc. No. He's absolutely shameless. Wind-up merchant.
My favourite bit is he came in and he went, I've got a collection of World Cup kits. I've got all the shirts. And I just reached into could have been Denmark.
Yeah.
Could have been Saudi Arabia.
Brazen.
It happened to be Haiti.
How unlucky am I?
Brilliant. Yeah, he'll be continuing that, I'm sure, throughout the tournament. He massively wound up a lot of Scotland fans and Shabana Hearn, who had to go at him back, which was very, very good fun. Jason is all over talkSPORT throughout this World Cup, of course, but does the sports bar. Max, there's so many decent games tonight. Germany get underway. They're taking on Curacao. But the one that's really sticking out for me is Netherlands against Japan. And Japan are an interesting one because they seem to be the hipster's choice in terms of that dark horse that could go quite far in the tournament. It's not a bad Netherlands squad, is it?
No.
So it's a really interesting first game in that group for them.
This is a Japan team without Matoma, without Endo. And so I think they're gonna struggle tonight, but I think they'll definitely get out of that group. In fact, Netherlands, there's a super mathematician that's predicted the last 3 World Cup winners. He says Netherlands are going to win based on all the data and the stats, which I think is a bit far. You shouldn't necessarily trust mathematicians with the beautiful game, but they've got a great defence. I mean, and they've always been a great team, but I think they've kind of been always overshadowed by the likes previously of Germany, by the likes of France, by the likes of Spain, never really of England because we've not come to much, but I just think they're going to be a top team. But Japan, really well organised. They came to Wembley, did the job on Thomas Tuchel's England last time out in one of those World Cup warm-up games. So even without Matoma and Endo, they're going to be an absolute handful. That, for me, is the game of the evening. Close second, by the way, Ivory Coast and Ecuador. Ecuador cannot be slept on. They are going to be an incredibly difficult side, and Ivory Coast have got some top players as well. So that
I cannot wait to watch Yan Diomande. By the way, it's hugely linked with Liverpool. But I think, you were talking earlier about Balogun and this potentially being his big shot window, and he can be the James Rodriguez. I get a similar feeling with Diomande. Even in that World Cup warm-up game they had against France, he scored that brilliant goal. I'm so excited about him. 19 years old, and it looks like Liverpool doing very, very well to maybe get him over the line. So yeah, these games are going to light up tonight. Just quickly on the Netherlands, you say they've got a great defence.
Well, are you going to tell me that Virgil van Dijk's passed it?
Yeah. He's had a really poor season. Mickey van der Ven has just come 17th.
I know,
they're good players.
I tell you what's great about...
You can't say they're in form.
No, they're not in form, but you don't need to be in form for a World Cup, I don't think, mate. I think people over-egg the fact that, a team needs to be in form. The World Cup is about moments. This is why, for Thomas Tuchel, set pieces are so important, and why the referees clamping down on holding in boxes might actually be really difficult for England, because as we know, we see it with Arsenal, the reliance on blocking and screening and dragging and pulling is really important, scoring from set pieces. My point here is, World Cup isn't about form, it's about moments. And I think the pace of Van der Ven is going to cover for the lack of pace or the pace that Virgil van Dijk has lost. So I think that's going to be a really solid partnership, even though, let's be honest, both Spurs and Liverpool have stunk the place out this season in their own respective ways. Sweden
also take on Tunisia. That's at 3 a.m. on Monday. Obviously, they've got one of the best strikers in world football, Viktor Gyökeres, the Swedes, and a fellow called Alexander Isak, who we don't talk about as a Newcastle fan. But I'm interested by Sweden. Under Graham Potter, he's bought himself a cowboy hat. I enjoyed that.
Has he?
Yeah. Have you not seen?
No,
he's bought himself a cowboy hat. In all the official photos, he's wearing the cowboy hat. I mean, as if that man hadn't been memed enough. He's just making a rod for his own back. But they intrigued me, Sweden, because they really struggled with the qualifying and only just made it to the World Cup.
Because of Graham Potter.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. And I think when you look at the talent in that squad, it doesn't really make too much sense. It's a bit like the fact that Italy didn't manage to qualify. So I just wonder if they're going to turn up. Isak needs a good World Cup, I think. Really poor season. Obviously, he was injured for a lot of it. But I feel that maybe he'll be desperate on the world stage to just show off again what he can do.
He's got to. Yeah. Because it's amazing how far a player's stock can drop in such a short space of time.
I haven't enjoyed a minute of it. I really have. Poor old Alex.
I know, bleeding heart. I mean, he didn't cover himself in glory, did he? But what I would say is, if I was a Liverpool fan, I'd be worried about him getting injured again. I just don't know if he can hack the load these days. Even at Newcastle,
it was an issue. Yeah, it was an issue.
So I wouldn't be surprised if Alexander Isak doesn't play much football, because he just looks so sort of breakable. Yeah, that's what I think.
Oh, it used to wind me up so much, and people saying, "Yeah, but he hasn't had pre-season." Yeah, and that was his choice.
Yeah, exactly.
Wasn't training, wasn't playing. Ridiculous. Not the way to leave a club.
But a huge opportunity for him. Huge opportunity for him on the world stage, without a doubt.
Huge. And I'll be fair, it hasn't worked for him yet in Liverpool, but I know what he's like, and he will relish this. He will relish this, and I won't be surprised if you potentially see some Alexander Isak magic when Sweden take on Tunisia. That's at 3 a.m. on Monday. Just to mark your card as well, Côte d'Ivoire against Ecuador, which you pointed out, Max. That's a mouth-watering game. That's at midnight our time. Netherlands, Japan's 9 p.m. and Germany, Curacao, not far away. 6 o'clock kickoff for that game. All UK time there. This is the S Word on the talkSPORT YouTube channel with Ollie Klink and Max Scott.
Will Gavin and Master Tesfacion
from talkSPORT. talkSPORT presents
The S Word.
Listen again and subscribe
wherever you get your podcasts
and on the talkSPORT USA YouTube channel.
Hello, this is the S Word with me, Ollie Klink, alongside Max Scott, who is so irate. He is so irate about our next guest and what he's been wearing. I mean, he's not got the best fashion sense at the best of times, let's be honest.
No, but I mean, he's looking a little bit better after his sort of dalliance in Dallas.
Yes, he is. But, he's actually been down dressing up as a cowboy, which I have to ask him about. But, of course, we're joined by our chief football correspondent, Alex Cook, who is live out in Dallas. Crookie, how are you?
Yeah, good morning, boys. I'm very well. How are you, Ollie, after the birthday festivities yesterday?
He's struggling, Crookie, let me tell you that. Struggling.
Really well, thank you, mate. In fact, I've only just remembered that you sent a fantastic message in the style of breaking news that I was turning 30. I'm going to be watching that video again a bit later on because it was absolutely brilliant. Crookie, before we get into the football, before we get into anything, you have wound up me and Max, not for the first time, I'll make that clear, a Germany shirt.
Well, listen, you boys know that I love a freebie, particularly at a tournament. So 2 years ago, in Germany, Adidas very kindly invited me to go and play a game on the five-a-side pitch they built in the middle of their fan park, complete with stands. It was a brilliant experience. And they gave me a Germany shirt. So I thought, well, as I'm coming down to Houston to cover Curacao, I'll try and blend in. I haven't actually got an up-to-date England shirt. So if anybody from Nike,
you said you got this one 2 years ago. You're wearing an up-to-date, you're wearing an out-of-date Germany shirt because you don't have an up-to-date England shirt. I think you should be stripped of your citizenship, Crookie.
I think the last England shirt I had was probably from about 2002, so I certainly do need a new one. So if any of the listeners out there, anybody working for a sports shop wants to send me one, I'll gladly don it for
Crookie,
you.
on the
XXL.
big bucks.
I'm losing a bit of timber, but still need on the large
Crookie's
side.
must be one of the highest paid at talkSPORT, and he wants a whip around to get a new England shirt for him.
Also, with all due respect, out of everyone who works for talkSPORT, you're not the first one I'd have picked to be sponsored by Adidas. I'll be honest. Adidas make the Liverpool kit, don't they, as well?
Yeah, we could get
him
one.
As a Man United fan, would you wear one of them if it was free?
No, but they also make the Manchester United kit, and they did send me 2 United kits at the start of last season.
So, Crookie, can I genuinely... I want to zoom in on this, because for me, I cannot abide Germany as a footballing team, because I think they're our biggest rivals, right? It's like a Packers fan wearing a Bears shirt. It's like a Mets fan wearing a Yankees cap or whatever. I cannot quite fathom that you would wear a Germany shirt. Do they not register you as rivals of our great nation?
Maybe it's because Germany are not that good anymore. If you look at their performances at the last 2 World Cups, they went out in the group stage in Qatar, they went out in the group stage 4 years earlier. Speaking to Germany fans last night here in a few of the sports bars in Houston, they're not confident they're going to go deep in this competition. So maybe I don't see them as a rival anymore. Maybe England have gone past Germany in footballing terms.
Yeah, but Sunderland could be in League One, and they have been, and I would never wear a Sunderland shirt. This is nonsense, Crookie. How dare... I can't believe you've been donning your out-of-date Germany shirt just because it was free.
I'll do better next time, I promise.
No, there we go.
In terms of freebies, I actually want to know if this was free, because, of course, you have also been getting dressed up as a cowboy, and a lot of that is to do with this jingle.
Crookies Roundup, right here every day. Crookies Roundup, which players are on their way. If an agent's got a story.
Hello, Alex Crook. What you got for me?
Crookie gets it first.
Yeehaw, cowboy! There's a snake in my boot.
He gets all the gossip, from the best players to the worst. Of course, it's time for Crookies Roundup. He's the very best. He's the rootinest, tootinest journo in the Wild Wild West. Crookies Roundup.
Yeah, I know Buzz from my Bournemouth days, actually.
No, I'll be honest. I made that. I remember it. I wrote it.
You sang it. You harmonised it.
I harmonised it. I came in on my day off to do it. Nobody paid me to do it. But I just kept hearing you get introduced on breakfast as Crookie's Roundup. And I was like, how has that not been made? It's Ali McCoy's, I think, favourite jingle. And it's led to you, Crookie, going and getting your own cowboy gear fitted. Is that right?
Absolutely. We went down to a place called Rockham Boots in Dallas, an absolute Aladdin's cave when it comes to cowboy gear, the leather belts, the rascal shirts, the cowboy boots, the cowboy hat, and they're very kindly fitting me out with my own cowboy hat and that very loud shirt that I've been wearing as well. Got to tell you, boys, I might have to leg it in a minute because there's a warning for thunderstorms here in Houston. We can hear claps of thunder and a bit of lightning in the background. The rain has just started to fall. I think I'm about to get absolutely drenched talking to you
well,
guys.
this is karma. This is the gods getting back at you, Crookie, for wearing a Germany shirt. And I'm sorry to bring it back, but I'm absolutely disgusted. You know, Crookie, I've got a lot of respect for you, mate. I really like you as a bloke, but you've gone down in my estimation because of this. And now you're trying to scarp us, saying it's raining. Put your boots on, put your cowboy hat on, and weather the storm, Crookie.
Have you not got like a Germany parka you can put on, maybe, or one of those huge coats that Julian Nagelsmann's probably going to wear?
I've got a golf raincoat, but I've left it back in the apartment in Dallas, which is about 4 hours from here. We drove down yesterday. By the way, driving in America is so dull. We were on this same road, right? We got in the car, and we put the address in the sat nav. 233 miles on one motorway.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow. Incredible.
Yeah, there's none of those winding country roads that you get on the south coast, Crookie. Your end of the country. But I've got to ask you, you've been spending your money, granted, not on football shirts because you get given them for free by the German FA, but you've been spending your money, splashing your cash on your cowboy hat, your cowboy boots, your new shirt, which looked good. I liked it, Crookie. But it sounds like you've been spending potentially a lot of money on parking because the prices have been jacked up supposedly, and this comes amid a lot of talk from journalists on the food that they're having to pay for, 50-odd euros for a tacky sandwich and a croissant and a bottle of water. I mean, it is just absolute madness, the prices that we're paying, right?
Well, let me tell you, for about a month before I came over, Scott Minto got me into fasting. That's how he stays in such good shape, despite the fact he drinks as much as I do. So I only have one meal a day. So that's helping to keep the cost down. I'm just about to eat breakfast. I'll aim not to eat again until tomorrow. I'm certainly not paying those prices in the stadium. But you're right, we turned up at our hotel right next to the Houston Stadium. You can see behind me where Germany are playing Curacao today. Parking yesterday, free of charge, as it always is when you use this hotel. Today, because there's a match on, we've got to pay $150 for the privilege of leaving our car in the car park that was free of charge yesterday, and it'll be free of charge again when we leave tomorrow.
That is unbelievable, and that's extortionate too, and it just speaks to everything we've seen in terms of the ridiculous pricing.
Crookie, sorry, can I just ask, how does that sort of, how are you balancing that? You're out there, you're in the midst of the World Cup fever, you've got your finger on the pulse of how fans are feeling. Is that a talking point, or are people kind of just acknowledging that this is the situation and are still sort of cracking on with really getting stuck into what's going to be a huge game? I mean, Curacao, the story is amazing. So how's the feeling out there with regards to that?
I think there's a sort of unhappy acceptance that if you're going to come out to this World Cup, you're going to pay more for tickets, you're going to pay more for your food and drink inside a stadium, you're going to pay more for the privilege of travelling to a stadium, more for the privilege of parking at the stadium. Nobody's particularly happy about it, but I think now the tournament is underway, most of the fans just want to focus on the football. Yeah. I've got to say, we've watched every game, barring the Qatar-Switzerland one. We listened to that on talkSPORT when we were driving from Dallas to Houston. I've really enjoyed it. I thought Australia last night were terrific. Turkey, one of my dark horses, so disappointing. We went to a watch party with the Dallas Cowboys kicker, Brandon Aubrey, on Friday night, I think it was, when the USA kicked off their campaign, and they were sensational as well. Obviously, Mexico got off to a winning start. Didn't see much in Brazil yesterday to change my opinion that they're not going to go very deep in the draw. I thought the goalkeeper was all over the shop. Defensively, they were average. The midfield had no legs, and Thiago struggled up front. Apart from that, they look every bit like potential world champions.
Yeah, just going back to your fasting, by the way, Crookie, one meal a day, but in America, that's probably going to count as three, isn't it? Where have you been watching all of these games?
He's getting absolutely pelted with rain. Look at him.
Good. He deserves it.
Crookie, just 5 more questions, Crookie. Just 5 more.
He's absolutely soaked.
Look at this. We've been watching the games. We've been watching the games mainly in sports bars, and actually, you talk about the cost, they're not free to air over here. They're not on terrestrial television, so you can only watch them if you've got a Fox Sports subscription, which obviously we don't have in our hotel room, so we've had no choice but to find a sports bar, go and blend in with the locals, take advantage of happy hour and watch them in pubs, basically.
Sorry.
Well, go and put your Germany shirt back on, Crookie. Dry yourself off, son.
Go and get your Germany umbrella out, Crookie. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Get under the cover, Alex Crook there, who completely deserved that.
Yeah, he does. He does. He's a top bloke. I got so much love for Crookie, but that is karma. That is karma coming back to bite an Englishman wearing a Germany shirt. That, shocked me. Ran over, he deserves it.
Do you know what? I think he should double down. I think he should go back to Adidas and say, right, I want the full training
I want the shin pads, I want the socks,
I want a Voltamada shirt, I want absolutely everything. That's it from us today on our debut together on the S Word. Max, it's been a pleasure.
Loved it, mate.
Thanks for carrying me through that. I'm going to go and have a lie now. I think after my celebrations last night. It's been great fun. Master and Will, of course, will be back next week. Master out there enjoying everything. Let them enjoyed that US win.
Yeah, I mean, fair play. He was on great form, and he's going to be on great form next week after a stunning win for the States.
Absolutely. We'll be back at the same time tomorrow. Remember, you can check us out on the talkSPORT YouTube channel. Always dive in the comments. We love to hear from you, and make sure you click subscribe. This has been the S Word.
Bringing all the biggest football debates
stateside.
The S Word
from talkSPORT.
S Word, featuring Bill Gavin and Master Tess Fassian.
And a squad of big-name contributors.
The S Word
from talkSPORT.